Hey everybody, welcome back to another great episode of the Beyond Jaws podcast. Today on the podcast, we're going to be focusing or interviewing Ghofrane Labyedh. She is one of the keynote speakers at Sharks International 2026. That's happening this early May, coming up in 2026. And we're excited to have her on because we've never had her on before. She's such a fun person to interview. She works in Cameroon working on elasmobranchs, and she's originally from Tunisia, so we're going to get her background, we're going to get her life story, and we're going to get her shark conservation career story on the book. So we can't wait to do that, so let's start the show. Hey everybody, welcome back to another exciting episode of the Beyond Jaws podcast. I'm your host, Andrew, and your co-host, Andrew Lewin, here with my co-host, Dr. David Ebert. Dave, are you ready to interview Ghofrane?
Oh, absolutely. I've seen her name around. I've actually met her and talked with her before. Thought she was a real dynamo. Was really happy to see her on here. I'm glad we were able to get her on for the interview for this podcast. And yeah, it's definitely like kind of West Africa, Cameroon. That area is not an area that's well known at all.
No.
And so she's one of the people we had Guido Lures on last year, who's working north of her in West Africa. But that's just, West Africa is just really a largely unknown area for sharks and rays. Yeah. So she's really doing some interesting kind of exploring type research where she's working out there, and obviously being a young woman working in an area that there's probably not too many women working in. Right. So it's really excited to have her on, and she'll be a spark plug, I'm sure. So
no, absolutely. You know, I think it's interesting to see more and more young scientists and female scientists at that we've been having on the podcast that are going out and into areas where, like you said, shark research hasn't really been established yet, or even just knowing what types of sharks are there, we just haven't seen. And so we're like, they're going to be pioneers in these countries to say, hey, you know, this is what we've discovered. Ghofrane made this network of connections throughout Cameroon, working with the government. You know, as easy as that may be, or as hard as that might be, as she mentioned, as she's going to mention in the interview, you know, it's going to be interesting to see where this progresses. It has to start somewhere, and it's starting with Ghofrane and the network of people and fishers that she's dealing with. So I think it's going to be a really interesting episode. So why don't we get into that interview with Ghofrane? Enjoy, and we'll talk to you after. Hey Ghofrane, welcome to the Beyond Jaws podcast. Are you ready to talk about sharks?
Yes.
All right.
well, welcome to the Beyond Jaws podcast, where we have another amazing guest who'll be one of the keynote speakers at the Sharks International this year in May. Andrew and I have been featuring several of the keynote speakers who have not been on the podcast over the last several weeks, and we have another tremendous guest. We have Ghofrane Labyedh, who's originally from Tunisia. I almost said Indonesia, but she's from Tunisia, but she's now working in Cameroon. Ghofrane is an aquatic biologist and ocean conservationist whose passion for marine life began on the shores of Montserrat, Tunisia, which I had to look up on a map because it's a beautiful city in the Mediterranean just across the Straits of Sicily from the island of Sicily. Ghofrane started her career as a volunteer monitoring sea turtles, an experience that contributed to the establishment of the Curette Islands Marine Protected Area, which inspired her lifelong dedication to ocean conservation. From 2019 to 2024, she worked with the African Marine Conservation Organization, AMCO, in Cameroon, focusing on the conservation of sharks and rays. In 2022, she became the Shark and Ray Program Manager, leading fish market surveys, socio-economic studies with fish communities, also volunteer training and policy advocacy. She translated scientific research into reports and policy briefs to guide decision-making and secure funding for conservation initiatives. In 2023, she helped create a network of researchers and organizations working on sharks and rays across West and Central Africa with our friends at the Manna Trust, Guy Stevens Group, bridging gaps with research, skills, and policy across the region. In 2024, Ghofrane became a National Geographic Explorer, and in 2025, she became a fellow for both the Sustainable Ocean Alliance and the Nature Environment Wildlife Filmmaking Program, working to combine science and storytelling to inspire action. Her schooling, she has a Bachelor's of Science in Marine Biology and Aquaculture from the Higher Institute of Biotechnology at Monastir in Tunisia, also an MSc from the same university in marine ecology. She currently is started a new program as the lead coordinator for the West and Central Africa Elasmo Brain Coalition for the Manta Trust, and began a new role as the regional vice chair for the IUCN Shark Species Shark Specialist Group. Yeah, and with all those impressive achievements, she has a lot more she'll tell us about today. And with that, welcome to the show, Ghofrane.
Thank you so much. Thank you for all you have been saying about me. Yeah, all of those hats I'm wearing, all the different hats, it's for the sharks and rays. And yeah, thank you for also inviting me today. It's such a pleasure to be with you. And yeah, let me know what you want to know about all you have been introducing. Yeah.
Well, we want to know everything about you, but let's start off with how you got interested in the marine environment, on sharks, and how'd you get interested?
Actually, I have a funny story, because every time I want to do something, the universe shifts me to one other thing, changes the path for me. Because first, when I got my baccalaureate, when I was about to start university, I wanted to study genetics. And I went to another city in Tunisia, a coastal city by the sea. I was studying genetics by that time, like the diseases that we can have related to our parents, like those kind of diseases. And I was living just 2 minutes far from the sea. I remember I wasn't able to swim more than 2 meters depth by that time, and the sea was just next to the house, so I was always going to test myself if I can go far, if I can see more. And I got myself a mask, and I slowly I found out that the ocean is more than we thought it is. It's more than summertime. It's more than you swim and you don't see what's below. You just, like, we use it to swim and we don't see what's going on underwater. And I really got fascinated. And slowly I heard about an association next in the same city I was in. It's called Notre Grand Bleu, our Big Blue in French. And I started volunteering with them. They were like working on an isolated island, a remote island, no inhabitants there, to save sea turtles. This island was a stable site for nidification for sea turtles, and I was spending almost all of the summer there in an isolated island, no electricity, no running water, just waiting for the sea turtle to come out from the sea, and to wait for it to prepare her nest and lay the eggs and then mark it. And by then I felt really alive. I felt that I'm leaving an impact. Changing something in the world. I'm not just existing, sleeping and eating, and that's it. And I went to Mom one day and I said, Mom, I'm going to change my studies, and I'm going to stop genetics, and I'm going to start marine biology. Everyone was upset at me, and I cried so much. Yeah, I cried so much that night, because it was like a big decision that I was about to make in my life. And I felt like I'm giving up on a dream and I'm starting the unknown, because I was following my heart. I wasn't following my mind. I was following something that I loved suddenly, something that I discovered suddenly. And yeah, that's how I got to the marine biology, and I never regretted that decision. Never. Yeah.
Good. Yeah.
How was it though? Like, after your parents didn't like it, your family didn't like it, you still have to push through to cause that's what you wanted to do. So, what was that process like? Like, how did you get through that? Because we've had guests on here before where marine biology wasn't their first path, and so to push through that, and where families not really agreeing to it, how did you just continue on?
It demands a lot of time. like my family is mom for me. I don't have a big family. It's mom, and it's like more than enough. She wasn't understanding what's going on first. She was seeing me as if I'm lost, and I'm like doing something that she cannot understand. Like, why are you stopping something you wanted to? You left even your city to go to another city and to study genetics, and now you are like changing your mind. But quickly, mom, she was like, I use it always to let mom be with me, even in the Zoom meetings. If when I was going to Cameroon, for example, like now I work in Cameroon, the first few meetings that I was starting the preparation for my internship in Cameroon, mom, she was with me. Like, she was just listening and seeing how the preparation is going on. I'm a unique child, by the way. She doesn't have like other like children except me.
Right.
So that was so hard for her to see her unique kid is going from like a field to another field and starting a new career in another country, and it's not a common country, Cameroon. It's not the Europe. It's not the Maldives. So it wasn't easy for her, but she was following me, and I think that the fact that I was making her inside of everything going on, like, made her more like accepting what's going on, because she was like inside all the behind the scenes, so she knew everything. And for example, also during my master's degree, when I was like presenting my thesis and everything, she was present, and she was hearing my professors, how they were impressed by my work and everything. So she was so proud. And also there was another thing that happened. I went on TV in Tunisia because
cool.
Yeah, that was funny. That just happened. Like, I went on TV because in 2021 I was in Cameroon, and the cup, which is like it's the football game in Africa, like in all Africa, and they found out that I was the only Tunisian person who was living in that city in Cameroon. And they made like a short film about me, and that made mom so proud of me. Like, everyone saw me on the TV, like her daughter is in another country doing an amazing work. So it demands time, and it wasn't easy because it was so different. Like, I wasn't following any other steps. Like, I wasn't following my friend's steps or my cousin's steps in the family. I was like the new example, which is not easy at all.
For sure.
Because there's not like a lot of people. There's not really like a lot of Tunisian marine biologists, at least that I know of, like in the shark world.
We do have, but we don't, like, the ones I know, they are in Tunisia. Most of them, they're still in Tunisia. But in Cameroon, I'm the only one, definitely.
I could believe
else.
that. I could believe.
Marine biologist, Tunisian. I'm the only person. That's true.
Well, everybody knows who to go see then, and you're also doing sharks, which I know that part of the world. There's very few people that have really ever done sharks in that part of the world as well. Now, since you've shown up in Cameroon, do you have like a following of other people kind of gotten inspired about the type of research you're doing and try to get involved with?
Actually, in Cameroon, I'm trying to get other locals be involved in. That's one of my main goals, because it's not common, and the skills are missed. Even when people they want to, they cannot, because they don't know the way how to do the identification of sharks and rays, how to collect data. So that's what I was doing, and that's what I will keep being doing as well. One of the people I trained, she recently got a grant from Save Our Seas, and she will attend the Sharks International. She's Cameroonian.
Nice.
She's 23 years old. Yeah, that's like a huge impact for me. Yeah.
Yeah. Who is it? Can you say her name?
Yeah. She called Fitra.
Vitra.
Yeah.
Okay. Well,
Very
shout out
nice.
to Vitra.
Yeah.
She listens to the podcast, and
She actually in Cameroon they speak French more than English. Like Cameroon is bilinguistic, so they speak both French and English. But 85% of Cameroon they speak French, and the rest they speak English, because they were colonized by England and France. So and like sometimes the only problem for the new, like the early careers, that they cannot speak English. Example for her, she speaks more like French. She's more comfortable in French. But I was telling her that I'm Arabic and my English is not, I'm not native speaker, and it's okay to make mistakes, but which is not okay that you will not try. So I'm pushing her now. She can speak English very well. She can communicate. Yeah, so the attending the Sharks International for her will be amazing. So she will be in the shock.
Yeah.
She will be in the shock, and she will explode. I know her. She will do fine.
Well, let's be honest. Dave and I, obviously English is our first language. I speak a little bit of French because I live in Canada, but it would be very difficult for us to go to a country where English is not the first language and to learn that language. And I always give respect to people who that's not, they're coming from a country where English is not their first language. They come in and they speak English to accommodate everybody else. I always give them props for that, because that's not an easy thing to do. It's got to be uncomfortable. I know I feel uncomfortable when I go to a different country where, if it's a Spanish country or an Italian, wherever you are, you're not speaking the local language, and you try, and it's not going to be perfect, but the fact that people are trying is just amazing, and it's difficult to feel comfortable with that. So the fact that she gets more and more comfortable by continuing to try, and having you to kind of encourage her to do that, it'll be great. And being at Sharks International, people are from all over the world. They're going to be super comfortable with her, and let her try and get the words out, and be patient.
Absolutely.
Yeah, so there'll be plenty of people there that speak French, and
true.
And it's I would say probably speaking Arabic as your first language, you're going to find fewer Arabic speakers than you will French speakers there. I know Rima speaks Arabic, I believe, and
we have never been speaking Arabic, Rima and me. We are both Arabic.
I've been in her home territory there in Dubai, and so I've actually seen her speak in Arabic locally.
Oh, nice.
But I think she speaks 4, 5, 6 languages, quite a few languages there. Anyway, but I know she won't have any problem. There'd be enough people speaking French to get by. And so speaking of which, and you obviously speak some English, Arabic, and you also speak French pretty well.
Yeah. 3 languages. Yeah.
3 languages. That's 3 more than I speak, so that's pretty good.
You speak any other languages than the English? You said French, Andrew and Dave.
I speak a little bit of French. I grew up. My mom's from Quebec City, which is the French province here in Canada. So I went to French school when I was a kid, all French school. But I lost a lot of the vocabulary. But if I go back to Quebec, I went back to Montreal not long ago, and I was able to get around. Let's just say the more I speak it, the more it's the vocabulary, right? It's trying to figure out. Yeah, it's all about practice.
Well, when I was growing up, I used to work in the fields picking crops, and most of a lot of the people out there are Spanish speaking. So I learned how to curse really well in Spanish at one time, which is it's funny. But most people outside, say, an academic circle, most languages, whenever I had exposure to people, different, you learn the curse words first
right away.
You know, it's funny. You learn the curse words, and you don't forget the curse words. But you try to carry on a conversation without cursing. It's really hard.
Yeah, I can imagine.
You know, so, and that's a universal thing. I've had exposure in other languages, Chinese, Portuguese. It's like you always learn a few of the curse words first.
Yeah.
For whatever reason, it's just a universal. My experience is just like a universal
100%
thing.
Same
So
with
it's
mine.
so it's not just
growing up high school. We had a lot of different people from all over the world, and as soon as they knew a language, or the Spanish, Mandarin, Cantonese, like I knew how to swear in all of those.
Exactly. Filipino,
Yeah.
all of those types of things. It was always really it seemed like, so good. I don't feel like
No,
it
it's
was
the same.
just a Dave thing. So okay.
No, it's the same.
well, maybe we'll have an after the show, and Ghofrane
after
can teach you some curse words in Arabic. So
Actually, I'm getting more used to French because I live more in Cameroon, so
Right.
I speak more French than Arabic. So, but when I got back to Tunisia, I was like perfect in Arabic yet. I was like kind of afraid. Oh, maybe I forgot how to speak Arabic, but no, it wasn't the case. My friends, they were telling me, no, you are fine. You are fine. Yeah.
Well, let me ask you this: when you go, speaking of language, when you go out to like a lot of the villages and some of the more remote areas there, do you find they speak more of a local dialect than?
You mean in Cameroon?
Some of the,
in Cameroon?
Yeah, in Cameroon, yes, yeah.
It's really an interesting question. In Cameroon, they do have more than 200 local languages, and the accent of the French here, it's totally different than the French I used to speak in my country. So when I came like the first time here, my brain like got a little bit confused at first. I was hearing even like new expressions of a French language. Like they use other expressions, but now I speak like them 100%. Like I even use the same expression. Sometimes they are confused. Like, are you Cameroonian? I'm like, almost. Almost. Yeah, but
close enough.
Yeah, I was almost in all the coastline of Cameroon, and the north of the coastline they speak English, and they speak the pidgin. The pidgin is something extracted from the English. When you hear it, you feel like it's English, but it's not English. It's another language.
Oh, interesting.
It sounds so similar to English, but it's not English. It's so close. And yeah, it was the hardest thing, like honestly. But the other like part of the coastline, they do speak French, and I've never been in a place or a village where they couldn't communicate with me. It's whether French or English, even though they still speak other languages. So I was lucky. Yeah, I was really lucky. Yeah. They always speak English or French, so you can communicate in a way or another.
Okay. Yeah, 'cause I found like some of these places, like even in South Africa, there's something like 2 or 3 dozen different languages when you start bringing in all the tribal languages, and you could really get into. You can really get lost in all kinds of. Usually English will kind of get you around pretty much certainly if you're in the city areas, the towns, you can do that. But when you get out there, you can speak. They'll speak a whole host of other languages. That's why I was kind of curious when you go out, like in Cameroon, particularly, how it is outside, trying to communicate with the people. So So I got another question. I have a question for you too. When you go out there, particularly in the more remote areas, how is it being a young woman going out trying to in the villages and stuff? That's got to be an interesting experience for you.
Yeah, actually, it's not the same for me when I did it first, like when I did it after a couple of times. Like the first times were the most tough time for me. I remember the first time I came here to Cameroon, I was 25 years old. And I've never been to the sub-Saharan Africa before. That was my first time. And when I first came here, I was in a village. I was based in a village in Cameroon called Dizenge. And there was no electricity, no running water. I was sharing the same room with other Cameroonians. That was so tough for me. I
can imagine.
Left home. There was an internship. I wasn't paid. I was just volunteering. I was training the staff to identify sharks and rays and prospect the biodiversity and everything. So I was really kind of in a shock. It was a cultural shock. I felt that I'm not African. I was I'm from Africa and I'm feeling like this. What about European people? I'm still from Africa. Why I'm feeling kind of isolated, And slowly I was searching for how I can fit, how I can be a different but not an outsider, because these two things are so different. You can be different, but you can fit in. But being an outsider is the problem. You need to find a way to adapt, to get used and everything. And slowly I found myself. I was searching for the things that I never had in my own country, the simplicity, the wildness, how people are so easy to get with, how they are so welcoming, so warm and everything. So for a young woman, as you said, the first time I was in the fish market, people, they didn't accept me because I was different. But when they kept seeing me going back again and again and being committed and having the same goal every week, they have been seeing me every month, they have been seeing me. They started calling me my daughter. Come, my daughter. Come, my... And that's kind of... I'm an emotional person, by the way. I'm so emotional. And I can cry even in a Teams meeting. I'm I cannot hide my emotions. And this is this is a power, not a weakness. Because they use it to tell me that you are weak because you are emotional, which is not true. The key to get fit inside of Cameroon was because I'm emotional, because the population saw me emotional and caring feelings with me, caring love with me. They trusted me. They gave me space to exist with them. If they saw me only as a scientist, I'm in the fish market just to collect data and leave, I would never keep existing until now. I would maybe spend 2 or 3 years and then I'm gone, from Cameroon. But the thing that really kept me being here and kept the fishers and the coastal community to accept to work with me and to collaborate with me is because I'm emotional. I'm carrying emotions with science at the same time, not just science with me. I'm here for a reason, and we are all here for the same reason. So we don't need to be I'm a young woman, I'm different, I'm foreign, and I'm not from the same country, but we have unicity at the same time. We are all searching for purposes, why we came to this life, why we exist. So everyone is searching in his own way, and that's why I found myself slowly more than a young woman in a different country, and I feel home, as I was telling you that I'm not in my own country, but I'm still feeling home because we built something through time, trust and vision. So that's why I faced all those challenges of being foreign and being young and being a woman in if the fish marketplace is more for men than women. But in Cameroon is different. You can find women selling fish more than men. So maybe that's why I could have exist, and I could have more trust in myself and confidence. So yeah, that's how I got where I am today, even though it wasn't easy at first.
Yeah. So now with you're going there, and you got you're mainly you're focused now on the sharks and rays. Is that your main with the work you're doing there?
Yep.
Yeah. And so now are you doing this is this part of through the Manta Trust? You're doing this through?
I can tell that how the story went. Just a brief. First, when I came to Cameroon, I was searching for whales, not for sharks and rays. I wanted to study whales.
Oh,
whales. Oh, cool.
Okay.
Yeah. And we don't have resident whales in Tunisia. They just pass by. They don't exist for a permanent way. So I was searching outside of my country because I was sure. And a simple search on Google, I found out the African Marine, by the time it was African Marine Mammal Organization, Conservation Organization, AMCO. I found about them. And I found about another organization in Australia. And I sent my CV and my motivation letter to go for an internship. And both they accepted me for an interview. But I didn't reply for the Australian organization, and I replied for the Cameroonian. I was like, let's go slowly. I don't want to go so far. Let's go slowly. So I went to Cameroon first for 2 months internship for whales and the marine megafauna as well, including sharks and rays, sea turtles, dolphins, whales, and everything. It was in 2019. When I spent 2 months the first time, all I saw most of the time was sharks and rays being landed in different sizes, many species, around 30 species, being processed in many ways, smoked, dried, finned, everything. And when I did the research, I found nothing. No papers published, no reports, no laws protecting this species in the country. So and I didn't see any whale. I spent around 12 hours in the sea and I didn't see any whale. So it was like a message from the universe, like a call from sharks. It's an urgent call that's what you need to do for now. You have been in Cameroon to know what's going on about sharks and rays. And then I went back to Tunisia and I did my master's degree on sharks and rays on Cameroon. So my master's degree, it was in Tunisia, but the topic was on sharks and rays in small-scale fisheries in Cameroon. And then I got back to Cameroon in 2021 for 6 months in the northern coastline to keep exploring what's going on for sharks and rays. By the end of the 6 months, we found out about a very rare species of mobulid rays. It's Mobila epostoma, the pygmy mobulid ray. And we use it to post on iNaturalist. And that's how we were, we have been contacted by Manta Trust. I don't remember who contacted us first when he saw the picture. It was like, oh, this is a very rare species, if you can keep the specimen, and the partnership started by then. And
so it was basically they were monitoring iNaturalist to see if there's anything that
actually
popped
the
up.
organization I use it to work with, we use it to have our own application. It's called Siren application. Fishers use an application, they take pictures and they send us. That's how we can know what's going on in the sea. Yeah.
That's so cool.
It was a picture from a fisher, actually. And we use it to post those observations on iNaturalist to validate the identification. And that's how we got a message or an email, I don't remember very well, from Manta Trust team. And in 2022, the Manta Trust team came to Cameroon to train us on dissection and how to take samples and how to do the morphometric measures for manta rays. And we wrote a paper on that species, on that specimen that we found. And in 2023, we, AMCO and Manta Trust, they created the first network in West and Central Africa, people who are working on sharks and rays, organizations, researchers. We created that network in 2023, and we hosted the first workshop in Cameroon where 12 countries, participants, came to Cameroon, and we drafted the first strategy on sharks and rays in the region. So that's how. And now, for the last 5 years, I was working for AMCO, African Marine Conservation Organization. And starting from this year, I'm working for the Manta Trust as a consultant to coordinate this network that we created in 2023. Yeah, to enhance research, collaboration, and policy in the region. So for now, I'm with Manta Trust. Yeah.
Yeah, that's
quite amazing.
That's quite a story. That's quite a story.
Yeah.
Well, it's we tell people this all the time. If people listen to the show, it's like nobody ever has like a straight line from like I'm going to do this and I'm going to go here. It just never goes that way. There's all this sort of zigzagging.
Yeah.
And in your case, you weren't even. Originally, you're looking for whales, which you never found the whales, and then you found.
I saw whales in 2024 in Cameroon, but we weren't looking. We weren't looking for them, but we saw them. Yeah, that was funny.
So that was like 5 years after you first went there, right?
Exactly. Yeah, I was like, okay, just a little bit late, but it's okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It just took 5 years. Oh well, at least you found them eventually. That's the good.
At least I saw them. Yeah.
Yeah. So now that you're doing this, you're going out and you're surveying the species out there and stuff. And so, what's sort of the direction you're looking at for like with all this information you're gathering? Because I mean, Cameroon's one of those places which is most of the countries in West Africa. It's just like a black hole as far as knowing what species occur there.
Yeah, absolutely.
So what do you? So obviously, I assume you're building up a database of the species you're seeing there.
Yeah. Actually, we have been lucky because in West and Central Africa, we lack many things, not just one main thing. We lack like finance, we lack skills, and we have been lucky because the base data line that we got, it was based on citizen science. It was based on the Siren application I was telling you about.
Right.
So when I arrived in 2019, I found a database of almost 5,000 observations of sharks and rays in just like 4 years. I found like a huge database. And this database guided us where to go and what to do. We knew which fish markets we need to do the survey in. And we knew which are the species that need more protection than others. So when I came here, the first thing I wanted to implement is the fish market surveys in parallel with the citizen science, because citizen science is a very great tool, but we need in-depth data as well. So we started the fish market surveys in the key fish markets where we know that the sharks and rays are being landed in huge quantities. So that's where we started the fish markets first. And what we look for is that who are the species that are really threatened and at the same time being landed a lot, being like caught a lot. So that's what we were looking for. And also the sizes. We found out that 90% of the lands are juveniles. Guitarfish, the black-shin guitarfish, and the scalloped hammerhead. So, you cannot draw a very particular map, and you say, oh, I will go to the fish market to find this and to do this. No, you need to go with the flow. You go to the fish market and you observe what's going on. Yeah. We have these species are being landed the most and being threatened the most. Okay, what can we know more about them? Oh, they are juveniles. So probably the fishing areas are overlapping with nursery areas. We cannot prove this now, but it's probably the case. So you need, it's like a puzzle, and you are collecting the pieces, and you cannot be sure 100% of what you will find, but you need to keep collecting and keep observing, and that's how you can have a macro vision of what's going on.
Is a lot of this data like you're collecting now, is this going to be used, do you think, eventually by policymakers to develop like a national plan of action for sharks?
Actually, yeah, it's very complicated. It's very, very... Yeah, I spent 5 years trying for national action plans. I hope one day it will work, but it didn't work yet. I changed my strategy actually. I'm working now with fishers to protect sharks and rays. It's easier. It's easier. I found a way.
Because you're working right with the people who are catching it.
Yeah, I found a way. Yeah. They are releasing back the baby sharks and rays now, the fishers. They are aware.
Okay.
The baby sharks and rays, they will not give a very good income if you will sell them. So it's better to release them back if the individual is still alive. You release it back. It's better, and it's a sort of collaboration more than we are passing by the fishing community. No, we are collaborating with the fishing community for the same vision. You are suffering from this nowadays situation of the ocean. There is no more fish. The climate is not the same. Instead of going once a week, you are going twice a month. Why all of this is because that we are not doing the sustainable practices. One of the sustainable practices is to release back sharks and rays, and the fishing community is aware and happy to help. So I've been going through this approach and showing the government, look, the problem is no more the problem, it's the solution. Do what you need to do, the government. The fishing community is saving sharks and rays. What are you waiting to do? Please start something. So yeah, that's what I want. And at the same time, where I'm working in the south, so close to me, there is the first marine protected area in Cameroon, but there is no management plan yet. So we are trying to influence the management plan to be including the sharks and rays protection in it at the same time, including the live release. So the fishers are doing this in other areas. It's going to be amazing if you will include it in the management plan of a marine protected area. So as a scientist, you will be straight to the point. Oh, I have like threatened animal, we need to protect it, there is no way. But I'm using other like ways, I'm navigating to show like it's like mathematics, you know, like you can find the same result but with different ways, and that's what I'm doing now. So I'm showing the government that we have different ways, and please choose one. I'm giving you options and just choose one. Yeah, it takes time. Yeah. It takes time.
Go ahead,
Andrew. Sorry. A quick question here about all this process. So, you know, you're working with fishers, and you have a great you're building that relationship, and you continue to maintain that relationship, which is nice because it's on the ground. You're on the ground. You know, you're seeing this firsthand, and they seem to be interested, as many fishers are around the world, to protecting the resource, right? Mm-hmm. But then you have the other side where it's, you know, you want to enact it into policy. So you have to build this relationship with government officials. What's it like? You know, I don't have like Dave has way more experience than I do in Africa, in different countries in Africa, and working with people there of all different countries. What's it like building that relationship with, you know, people from the government of Cameroon? Do you find it difficult, and did you have experience in doing this before? So, like, can you just kind of describe just sort of that entire process for you?
Actually, it's complicated. I will not say it's difficult or easy, but it's complicated,
right.
which is like logical, yeah. And it demands a lot of patience. You need to be sweet patience, like you. That's why I'm using other ways at the same time. If you will only use like policy and government and national action plans, and you will stop doing anything else, you will end up by doing nothing. But the best thing is that you keep knocking the doors of the government, and at the same time you do parallel things. So the government will say, oh, this is doable, this can be realistic, because you need to translate what your thoughts. You cannot, like, you need to put yourself in the shoes of others. You cannot expect the same way of thinking from government like you. Sorry for the word, but that means I'm stupid if I will like expect that. Like I cannot I cannot expect that the fishers will think the same way like me, or I will never also think the same way as fishers. So you need always to be empathetic. Be like, okay, they are being hard here. That makes sense. Let's see why. Let's see how can we make it easier. Can we make it more like smooth? So it's really complicated, and it needs, like, sometimes they can give you promises. They will never tell you no or close the doors, and that's the thing. Like, first time you will meet people from government, you will be so impressed. They will give you all the promises. Yes, we will do this, we'll do that, yep, and you will go back home flying. Oh yeah, I've done everything. And then nothing happens.
Yeah.
I know exactly what you're talking about.
Yeah, nothing happens. Exactly. And I'm like, I've been naive. I've been telling my boss, oh no, they told me that they will do this, they will do that. And then my boss, he's like, yeah. And then I got it. Yeah, I got it. It's not easy. It's a whole system. Even for them, it's not easy to integrate such laws inside of the system. It's not like a click like this. It needs like revision and revision and revision and revision. And it needs to be revised by many like different like people, and so it needs time and patience, and it needs more a proof. Like, you need to prove to them it can be real, so you can do it. The problem, the thing that you are seeing as a problem is being the solution. So please, just to change something, just do something. And one of the things I really like to do is to create a space where the government and the fishers can communicate. I love this. I really love this. Okay, like you are given orders, and they know they know what's going on more than anyone, more than the scientists, more than the government, the fishers. They are always in the sea. They know more than anyone. So I give them the space to talk about what's going on. Let the government listen to you, and that's how the debate can get like interesting and can be fruitful, and we can co-create solutions, because I cannot create solutions alone. I'm seeing them only from my perspective. It won't be so impactful. Everyone needs to be in the same area, and everyone needs to decide, not just the government, not just the scientific community, not just the fishing community, everyone at the same time. So I'm like, sometimes I sound weird, but by the end I sound more logical. When people they follow me until the end, that makes sense. So that's what I was trying to do.
That's an amazing story. And so I just don't want to keep you too much longer here, but just ask, so now that you've done some amazing stuff early in your career, where do you see your career going over the next sort of 5, 10, 20 years?
It's a funny question, especially for me. I was telling you, I wanted genetics. I found myself in marine biology. I wanted whales. I found myself with sharks and rays. So maybe I will tell you something now, but I'm sure
we'll have it on. We'll have it recorded, so we'll play it back to you later.
Especially, no one recorded for me before. Actually, I will tell you about my dreams. Then my big dream. Then like where I see myself. Like my big dream is to have a small boat, a very simple boat that I can go around the world, and I can make the local people to see those like very small individuals and snorkel as I started loving the ocean. I love making people snorkel and seeing the tiny, very, very tiny with the microscope, the very tiny animals, like to show people things that we didn't used to see. It's easy to see, but we didn't know how to see. So that's my big dream, is to have a boat, be traveling around the world, showing this very, very simple things to local people, and then leave. This is like my dream. Yeah,
I love it. I think it's fantastic. It's connecting people to the ocean, which is such an important part, right? You know, I think that in here in North America, Dave, you probably heard this before. It's, you know, people will often refer to, like, when you try to get grounded, you touch grass, like you touch nature, you get in nature. I always say you touch water. You know, just go out and touch the water, feel grounded, feel like, and I think that's such an important aspect to how people need to feel about the ocean and about nature in general, because a lot of times we feel we're so involved in our own lives that we don't feel that connection to nature, and it often that disconnect can lead towards a lot of bad things, right?
It's sometimes there are things in life that are so easy, but we don't have the chance to get them. So I will just try to help locals to have this chance. That's it. It's a simple thing, but sometimes we can never have them. I was really lucky to have them like this, and so that's my
awesome,
my tiny dream.
Do you think you'll ever use genetics and combine that with sharks at some point?
Absolutely. This is the next step. Absolutely. Yeah. Acoustic telemetry and genetics. I want to start my PhD on that, because I've been saying that I know that there are nursery grounds in Cameroon, but to confirm them I need more evidence, and the more evidence is the acoustic telemetry and some genetics as well, maybe to like assess more the biodiversity, because not everything is being landed, and all we have been doing is like to collect data on the landed species. So I want to combine these two things to go deeper in what's going on in Cameroon. Yeah.
Very nice.
Yeah, cool. Nice. Well, thank you so much, Ghofrane, for coming on the show. We're going to have you back too and see how your dream is progressing.
Absolutely.
I hope
here. So I hope so, and I'll look forward to seeing you here in a month or so, or a few weeks for the Sharks International. And anyway, we really enjoyed having you on. We'll definitely have you back again sometime to get updated on your dream. So.
Absolutely, and good luck as the keynote for Sharks International.
It's the first time for me to be a keynote speaker, and I will tell the story how I got to be a keynote speaker.
Please do.
In public. I love telling stories. I love telling stories. Yeah.
You're great. I love it. I love the stories. Yeah, absolutely.
Thank you.
You definitely deserve it. It's your first time. I'm sure it won't be the last time with the way you are expanding our knowledge on sharks and rays and in Cameroon and other places, and look forward to having you back on and talking more about sharks.
Thank you so much for providing such a safe spaces for early careers like me to talk about the work they're doing, the dreams they do have. It's not like very common, and like the more people feel seen and heard, the more they are confident. So really, thank you for giving us such a space. Yeah. Really.
Thank you for that compliment. We love giving the space. That's what this podcast is for. So thank you. Yep. Appreciate it. All right, we'll talk to you later. Thank you, Ghofrane, for joining us on today's episode of the Beyond Jaws podcast. Great to have you on. I can't wait to hear about your keynote speech at Sharks International 2026. Definitely deserved. A true pioneer, as I mentioned before the interview, a true pioneer in discovering sharks in Cameroon. Originally from Tunisia, Dave, and going to Cameroon, into a completely new country. She even mentions that it feels like home to her now. Yeah. More home than when she goes back to her original home. And so I think that's really interesting. As Dave, as someone who's done research in countries that are pretty far from the U.S. or pretty far from your home, what are the challenges when you first get into a place like this? And obviously, South Africa is very different from Cameroon in a lot of ways. But like, what's that like to go into a new country and try to establish that network of people that will give you information from a community of fishers and have those types of relationships? Well,
obviously, I come from. I was in a different era going back, 35, 40 years ago. South Africa is a very different country than it is today, and it's literally like being an explorer when you're going into some area. Now, South Africa had a little bit, in my case, had some shark research done. It kind of faded away in the 70s, and then we kind of, when I showed up there with Leonard Campagna, we kind of reinvigorated the whole shark research there. But if people have heard me talk on the podcast, I went to Namibia. Nobody had ever done anything in Namibia at all. It was completely unknown. And so that was just like literally like an adventure, just trying to get around there and study sharks and rays. So I can really appreciate what she's doing. Although I always kind of have to add she does have cell phones and computers and internet, because I didn't have any of that stuff. I mean, and this is not a joke, but literally I had a compass and a map, and that was how you navigated. There was no GPS, nothing. So I have to sound like your grandfather and talk about walking in the snow in your bare feet or something. But no, you really, to go into an area in West Africa. We had Lucia on a few weeks ago talking about Angola. In her case, her parents were Angolan, so she she has family there, so she had a little bit of a connection. But again, that's another area in West Africa where nobody really knows anything. Right. And so she's going in there, having to build those relationships with the community and stuff. And I think it helps too a little bit if you're in Lucia's case, she's not exactly a complete foreigner, whereas Ghofrane is. She's Tunisian. To establish yourself there. And as we talked about, if you kind of go there, if you go there and you're around and you go there more than like 1 or 2 days, they'll get to know you and start asking you some questions. And that's all about building those relationships. And you have to be kind of persistent and be showing up there and show you have a keen interest in the community and what's going on there to kind of to build those relationships.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I mean, that's the thing, right? Is the patience, you have to give yourself the vulnerability, giving yourself over to getting to know people, spending that time with people. I think it's an important aspect to consider. Something that needs to be done more, and then also working. At one point she said that she feels more comfortable working with fishers than she does with the government, because the fishers will do more faster, and it gets work because you have the people who are out there doing the work to be able to see the value of protecting these sharks, or sort of logging these sharks, and they see that value in the future. So seeing how those relationships build over that time, hopefully as she works more with the government. They may not have had anybody advocate for sharks before, and probably not. And so, trying to see how slowly or quickly that relationship will move forward to see laws get into place. That'll be really important in the future. But it starts with somebody, and it starts with Ghofrane, and I think that'll put her in the books. As someone who started that work and built a positive relationship with fishers in those communities to discover sharks and log and observe all these different sharks that are in there. And I'll be honest, I'm sure you are too. We're excited to see what comes out of this. How many sharks are going to be discovered? Are there going to be some species that we thought hadn't been seen in a long time may have gone extinct, or are we like some lost sharks, or are we going to see sharks that we typically thought would be there but just haven't been logged in those areas? So you never know what discoveries we get, and this is why we always tell people go where places where we haven't looked for sharks before. This is an example. This podcast is an example of interviewing people from South America, from Africa, from Indonesia, from Australia, from all over the place, where they go to places where research hasn't been done, and they've been able to make these amazing discoveries, or even just the regular discoveries of the species that are there. And I think that's really important to see. So Ghofrane, you're amazing. The keynote speech is going to be amazing. I'm sorry I'm going to have to miss it, but Dave, you'll be there supporting her and hearing from her, and so that'll be at Sharks International 2026. That'll be exciting. So I'm looking forward to seeing that. Now, Dave, if people want to get a hold of you, how would they do so? If they want to ask questions or comments or anything like that?
Lost Shark Guy on Instagram. Also go to the YouTube channel at Lost Shark Guy. Check out our series, Searching for Lost Sharks, Extinct or Alive. The latest episode on river sharks is now posted. And please leave a comment and let me know how you enjoy it. And hopefully you enjoy it. And please subscribe.
Absolutely, yeah. Don't forget to subscribe. We got more content coming out. It's gonna be amazing. Working on it right now. And if people want to get a hold of myself and Dave, you can go to @BeyondJaws on Instagram, and then of course our YouTube channel is Beyond Jaws Pod on YouTube, and you can just subscribe to that and to follow so you don't miss any of the other episodes where you can see our faces and you can enjoy us talking to our guests. So thank you so much for joining us. From Dave and I, we really appreciate your time, and we want to thank you so much for joining us on this episode of the Beyond Jaws podcast. Have a great day. We'll talk to you next time, and happy conservation.